A man had 2 sons. The younger said to his father, "Father, let me have the share of the estate that would come to me." So the father divided the property between them. A few days later, the younger son got together everything he had and left for a distant country, where he squandered his money on a life of debauchery. When he had spent it all, that country experienced a severe famine, and now he began to feel the pinch. So he hired himself out to one of the local inhabitants, who put him on his farm to feed the pigs. And he would willingly have filled his belly with the husk the pigs were eating, but no one offered him anything. Then he came to his senses and said, "How many of my father's paid servants have more food than they want, and here I am dying of hunger. I will leave this place and go to my father and say, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son. Treat me as one of your paid servants.' So he left the place and went back to his father. While he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was moved with pity. He ran to the boy, clasped him in his arms, and kissed him tenderly. Then his son said, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Quick! Bring out the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the calf we have been fattening and kill it. We are going to have a feast, a celebration, because this son of mine was dead and has come back to life. He was lost and is found.' And they began to celebrate. Now the elder son was out in the fields and on his way back. As he drew near the house, he could hear music and dancing. Calling one of the servants, he asked what it was all about. 'Your brother has come,' replied the servant, 'and your father has killed the calf we have fattened because he has got him back safe and sound.' He was angry then and refused to go in, and his father came out to plead with him. But he answered his father, 'Look, all these years I have slaved for you and never once disobeyed your orders. Yet you never offered me so much as a kid for me to celebrate with my friends. But for this son of yours, when he comes back after swallowing up your property, he and his women, you kill the calf we have been fattening.' The father said, 'My son, you are with me always, and all I have is yours. But it is only right we should celebrate and rejoice, because your brother here was dead and has come to life. He was lost and is found.'" This is the gospel of the Lord.
Well, there's a lot in there.
Yes.
The prodigal son, I mean, it's a very familiar story, and there's a lot of elements. I mean, the main character we see is the son coming home. But it's interesting to consider, I mean, as you were reading, I was considering which of those characters, the brother who stayed behind, or the father or the son who went away, would I identify with. And I have to say it's probably the one who stayed behind, and I can feel this resentment about this, spoiled brat who had it all, went away, spent it all, and when he was broke, slunk on home. And I suppose, and that's a very human thing. But of course, the deeper part of the story is the relationship between the father, his attitude to both his sons, and particularly the one who was lost, and how lovely it was that he came home. But what stood out for you?
I think similar aspects. I think I can identify also with the brother who stayed at home and being resentful of all this celebration and hoo-ha for the brother who rebelled and who squandered all his inheritance. And I read Pope Benedict's commentary on this passage, and I thought it was quite nice the point he brought up, which was the son at home. has forgotten the grace it is to have stayed at home and to have remained with the Father, and has kind of lost sight of what a grace that has been, and that he's always remained in that state of grace, and what a blessing that is, which we can often take for granted.
It's very true, actually. It's very true. I mean, this passage is often used to draw out the themes of reconciliation and confession, I suppose, reconciliation in the Catholic sense. And it is that complete. I mean, it's very humbling to consider the Father standing there and just being so delighted at seeing this other son come back. And as you say, what a gift and what a grace it is to be at home with him, and the other brother had lost sight of that. It's interesting. I think, like a lot of New Zealanders travel, and you've travelled to New Zealand from abroad. I wouldn't say everyone who goes away is a prodigal son or a prodigal daughter, but there is that amazing sense of, although all the attractions of the world are out there, there is something just very lovely about the thought of coming home and being welcomed home with all your stories, good and bad, and the ones you choose not to tell and all that sort of stuff. But it is that wonderful sense of coming home. So I think we can all relate to that at least.
Yeah. It's lovely that it says, while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and went out to meet him, and that's lovely as well, because we can all identify with feeling a bit lost and a bit regretful of certain things, and it's a nice image to think that, okay, you might have to make your way back, but you're also being met on your way back.
You're going to be met,
and you're going to be welcomed, and and that journey is being looked over, and that's quite a nice symbolism for reconciliation.
Yeah.